Bruins Beat is brought to you by Prizepicks and the Gametime app.
And welcome into the Bruins Beat, presented by Prizepicks. Go use that promo code CLNS50 to get $50 back when you play just $5. And we're presented by Gametime. Go use that promo code CLNS to get $20 off that first purchase. Terms apply. I'm Evan Marinofsky. That is Mark Divver. Divs, what is up?
Nothing much, Evan. Just getting ready here for another big weekend of hockey watching. Some live, some not live, but looking forward to it. How about you?
I'm good. It's funny. You and I have similar weekends a lot of times. Although this time of year you're heavy college, I'm more prep. But like the last bunch of weekends, I've been at games pretty consistently, and I'll be there again on Sunday for the Ed Burns Coffee Pot, the top public schools in the MIAA. But there's not a ton of amazing matchups Friday night or Saturday night. So I think I'm going to take both days off from the rinks, which is weird for January. I don't usually do that, but I'm like, like Nobles Andover, I was like, I might go to that, but I don't think I am. Who knows? Saturday I might be like, I'm bored, I'll go. But as of now, no. So I'll be chilling this weekend, which is nice. Just
for sure,
relaxing. So. And it's freezing. You look comfy, though. You're always in that amazing chair. I wish they should, that chair, whoever the maker is, should sponsor our podcast because you look comfortable as hell in that thing. Is that a Lazy Boy?
It is. Yes. Yes. And, I do a lot of sleeping in this chair.
Yes.
So, it's very comfortable. I went out to the rink this morning and, it's cold. It's cold out there. But now I'm back, and I don't think I'm going out again until tomorrow morning. So
you'll be in that chair for 24 straight hours.
That's right.
That's perfect. My Nana had a Lazy Boy. I remember this was like when I was little, and she got one, and it was leather. It wasn't like that, but it was the most comfortable thing. It was so comfortable. My dad went out and got his own because he was like, I love this so much.
Nice.
I need one. He still has it, and we have the other one too. And oh my God, it's been. We've probably had that thing almost 20 years, and that thing is so damn comfortable. I want one for my house, but I don't know if that'd be the smartest investment at this age. But boy, they're so comfy. So I don't blame you at all.
Yep.
I imagine that's where you watched the Ottawa game.
I did
on Thursday night. Bruins win 2-0 over the Senators. Rebound after a putrid game in New Jersey on Wednesday night, which we can talk a little bit about. I got to give the Bruins credit. I got to give them credit where it's due. I've been very critical of them over the last couple weeks. I still am urging them to take the retool path. But they looked much better against Ottawa. Compete-wise, and Sacco mentioned this after the game, compete. And I think that's sort of that's how they're going to win games. 2-0. 3-1, low scoring, good defensively. To me, that's the recipe.
Yeah, so they dug in. They did take some penalties, which they didn't get burned on too much. But it's a mystery why or how the train can go off the tracks the night before the way it did. And the way it has, for weeks now, and then you come back last night and you're dialed in, and you play hard, and you really record a must win, obviously, and now you're back. You're not a wild card team now. You're back in the in third place, and it's just a completely different perspective on. And are they 4-1-1 in their last 6 at home or something like that?
I think are they 4-1-1 in general?
I think they are.
I think that's what it is.
The gloom and doom, lately, or every time they have a game like, say, Saturday, the gloom and doom and the people weeping and gnashing their teeth is like the world's going to end, and it's if you step back a little bit, it's really not that bad. Maybe it is compared to what we expected or what we're used to, but I guess this is how it's going to be from now until the end, until
forever. They 4-1-1 in their last 6. I said this to Connor earlier in the week, like similar sentiment of, and I agree. I don't think this team is going deep. I think this team should retool, and we can get into that, but They've had some doozies, for sure. I'm the first one to say it. But they are 4-1-1 in their last 6. It doesn't feel like that. It doesn't. I think part of that is because they got outplayed so heavily against by Florida and Tampa, and then they almost lost to San Jose, and I think that's what has people so nervous. And I was the same way. I thought, you stole one against Florida, you stole one against Tampa. San Jose, can happen. Will Smith, nice goal for him. I was happy about that.
I looked at the standings this morning, and they're 5 points behind Florida. 5 points after all this awful games and all kinds of underachieving players. They're only 5 points behind Florida.
Isn't that wild?
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That's one of my big takeaways from this year so far, and it's been disappointing for sure. But relatively speaking, compared to everybody else, they're in a playoff spot right now, and they've been around a playoff spot the whole year, and they have not been great. They haven't. I mean, every metric is bad. And they're not they're not Nashville or Chicago, and
or
they're
Buffalo.
down. Yeah,
even Buffalo. It's
where James Hagen's get stuck up in Buffalo. Oh my God. Ooh. But that's my thing. Is and I still think they should retool. I'm not changing my stance. I'm not saying they should go for first or anything like that. But I don't think it's as horrible as people make it out to be. Now I get why people were pissed after Wednesday's game against New Jersey, where defensively in that second period, it was holy crap. What on earth is this? And I think people are also mad because I think a lot of people, and I say this because my friends are like this, they've bought into the Bruins need to retool, but the Bruins are not going to retool unless they absolutely need to. So I think there are fans who are mad when they win because they want them to lose, so it becomes more obvious for a retool.
And some of those people are play the kids, the play the kids contingent. Call them all up from Providence and play them. Well, before some of these people need to take a look at what's going on in Providence and what some of the players they have, and you don't want to see them in the NHL. They're not NHL players. So that idea is crazy, Just play the kids. Play the kids.
What about Merkulov? Merkulov to me seems like an exception, given that he has produced as much as he has in Providence.
He should be up there. I don't get that. And I've talked to him a couple of times this week. He's a really a likable kid, and he's just kind of keeping his nose to the grindstone, and just working, and it's like. Ryan Mouchnel, actually, I think it was this morning, said about Merck that he works hard and he loves the game and he puts the work in, and that regardless of whether he's up, he's down, he's back, he's forth, he's with the program, he's working at it regardless of where he's at right now, in Providence, kind of wondering like everyone is, what's going to happen, Mm-hmm. He's an RFA at the end of the year. I mean, they've invested a lot of time in this kid. And
that's the biggest thing.
Why wouldn't you give him a shot? And I think he'll get a shot before the end of the year. I just don't know what's taken so long. You got a power play. I guess it's been a little bit better lately. They've got a goal once in a while, more than before. But here's
30th instead of 31st.
Here's a guy that's tremendous on the power play. I don't get it. I don't know what they're afraid of with him. So
yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I don't know what the holdup is, and better than I do. You watch them a lot more than I do, but I see some of the highlights on Twitter. I see his stats, and I'm like, that's where it doesn't fully make sense to me, because Lysell, I do want to see Lysell get some sort of shot at the NHL level just to get it, just to know what you have. Yeah. Merkulov to me though seems like, hey, here's a guy with some skill. Here's a guy who has an offensive ceiling, who's been producing at the AHL level, seems to be doing all the right stuff. And he's not getting a look. And that's why I keep saying to people, if you're gonna retool, You don't need to necessarily, like, if you're going to trade Trent Frederick, you can do it for solely draft picks and or prospects. Because I think you can move Merck up and have him be that third line center, and be okay. And you can tread water with that, I think.
Well, I agree. And we can come back to Lysell in a minute, but I think you will see him by the end of the year. There's no reason for him not to get a look, for I don't know how many games it would be. And I can't stand these
Lysell or Merkulov?
Lysell. Back to Merkulov, though. There's just no reason for him to still be down here and doing his thing and not getting a look up there. So Max Jones goes up. I mean, what are we doing here? Yeah, I get it. Max Jones is a fourth liner. Merck's not, but I don't know. I think you got what's his name up there?
Patrick
Wallstrom.
Brown. Oh, Wallstrom.
What the hell is he bringing?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't want to put him on waivers? What, are you kidding me? I mean,
a lot of scoring chances, just not a lot of goals.
No,
he's at one still, right? I think he's at one.
Yeah, and just not a lot of, like, I don't know. You look at, like, the game Vinny Lettieri had last night. A lot of productive plays, a lot of good plays, okay? Wallstrom never makes good – there's no productive plays, or not many. I mean, whether the puck goes in for Lettieri or not, he's contributing something.
I was going to say, and Brick pointed that out last night. Brick was on, like, just
that was
perfect.
Brilliant. That little summing up that Brick gave there. He takes the right angles, okay? He takes the right angles to get there on time. He makes the little plays. He gets the puck out. He makes smart plays. He puts the puck in the right place. Those are the things that Lysell hasn't caught on with yet. And that's why Vinny's up there.
Wallstrom. Oh, Lysell. Oh, okay. Lysell. You're talking about Lysell.
Okay. Lysell. I'm jumping around here, but
no, I just want to make sure.
Vinny's dependable. He's going to get the puck out. He's going to get the puck in. He's going to go to the blue paint. He's not the biggest guy, but he gets in there, and his goals have been from that area, and his chances. So that's why he's up there right now and playing pretty well, and Lysell's still in Providence. And I think Merck, he won't always take the right angle to get to the puck, but I think he's improved tremendously on some of the other little things that he does do. So, I don't know why he isn't up there, but I expect he will be at some point, because you do have to find out, what you have, and this goes for Lysell too. Like you said, you got to put him in there. He may fall on his face, or maybe you'll see, okay, this guy's worth, whatever, hanging on to him, giving him more of a chance. But until you see those guys in a NHL environment, you don't really know. And one thing I don't agree with is people who say, oh, give him a 10-game trial, put him in there for 10 games and see. No. This is the NHL. You're going game to game, unless you're David Pastrnak.
That's true.
Game to game.
You don't get 10 games.
It's up to you. It's up to the player to string some good games together. Maybe they won't all be good games, but if you can have 4 positive games out of 6, well then okay, you deserve some more chances to prove that you can do it. So
I'd imagine if they do a full retool, which again, I'll believe that when I see it. I do. You probably would see, and I don't think they would come out and say like, "Oh, Lysell's coming up for 10 games," but I do think that they might have a longer leash if they were to really do a retool, where it's like, all right, Frederick's gone, Peak's gone, Coyle's potentially gone. Like, I think then it's like, all right, well, who else?
Or unless he came up and after 2 games they were like, holy crap,
that's right.
We can't put him in. We can't put him in again, and that goes for anyone, not just him.
Yeah.
It's not a. It's like they say, it's not a development league. It's a production league. It's a winning league. So, you gotta bring something, which I think is what like Lettieri's doing right now.
You do. You have to. And Lettieri has 2 goals in 5 games, by the way. He's looked good.
Yeah.
He's contributed. I mean, that you can't ask for more than that. It'll be interesting to see if he continues to stick. Seems to be working. They have him in the top 6. Like, interesting.
Yeah.
He came back in the Lauco trade, didn't he?
He did. Yes.
That's right.
And what's his name? That's at Quinnipiac, the defenseman, right?
Elliot Grenwald.
Elliot Grenwald, yes. So
Covered New England Hockey Journal over the summer. Thank God the Bruins made that trade.
And he, I like him. I think he's a good prospect.
I completely agree.
I think he's having a solid freshman year. Rand Pecknold, I went and saw them play, I don't know, a while ago, and Rand Pecknold said he's got everything. He just needs reps. Reps at the college level, that's all he needs. So, I think that pick is looking like a pretty good one.
I look at Grenwald as a relatively projectable player to the pro level. Like, that's going to be a good, stable NHL defenseman.
Decent skater. He's thick. He's like 6'2", 210. As a 19-year-old, there's a lot there to work with.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I want to get into some stuff with the guys on the current roster, because there are 2 guys who are playing really well right now. And then we'll get into some negative stuff too. I know people want to rant. They want to hear us, rant and rave about stuff. So we'll get into that. But first, our friends over at Prizepicks. Prizepicks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prizepicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long over at Prizepicks. And they got big games this weekend. You got the Bills, and you got the Bills and the Chiefs. You got the Commanders and the Eagles. Lots of stuff to go pick more or less on over there with Mahomes, with Jaden Daniels. Go do that. And then I think Jaden Daniels, they have a fun prop with he only needs more than 1 passing yard to make it win. So you have to just pick one other correct one, and you've got yourself a winner right there. That's cold hard cash, Mark. That's all we want, right? That's all we want.
That's it.
And then the Super Bowl, Prizepicks always has a good time with the Super Bowl, so you can go look forward to that. Bruins wise, we're about to talk about this anyway, but Pastrnak is going. Pastrnak is hot. Goals, points, it's an easy one to pick. And Morgan Geekie, who we'll also get to in a second, also hot. So he's another one. If you see a Morgan Geekie more than 0.5 goals in a game, I say you take it. So download the app and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prizepicks, run your game. Run your game. As I said right there, Pastrnak, red hot. Morgan Geekie, also red hot. Pasternak's playmaking ability, I still think, is so underrated. I don't know if it's underrated locally. I think people understand that, but nationally, like, he's known as a goal scorer, but some of these passes, like that one to Geekie on Thursday was awesome. And then the one on Wednesday got completely overlooked because they stunk the rest. That team sucked the rest of the game. But like, what a freaking pass! My God, we don't appreciate it enough.
No, you're right. You're right. He's the big shot and coming down the wing and picking the top corner. That's amazing stuff. So the playmaking does get overshadowed. There's no question about it. Is he shooting more now? I mean, I felt like the first few months of the season, he was deferring way too often, trying to make that, highlight reel play, of which he has succeeded the last little while. But, more, it feels like he's shooting a little bit more now. And I don't know, does that cause the D to, they have to respect that a little bit more, that he's going to shoot it, he's not going to pass it? I don't know. But yeah, he's been, where would they be without him?
He just looks better too. That's the other thing. Like, I think he's just more confident with the puck. That was one thing, as you said, the first couple months where it's like, oh my God, like, just hesitant, and
his body language wasn't great.
No,
and it's much better now.
I wonder if it's because he's been with Geekie and Zacha for as long as he has, where they've created that chemistry. That line is really their only line producing consistent offense. I think I would be interested. I think that has a part to do with it as well. They've also moved him around on the power play. He's not just sitting in the one-timer spot anymore. They have him up at the point. They have him moving more. Which again, I think is the right thing. We've been saying for months now, like, you can move him. He doesn't have to be in the one-timer spot.
Right.
He can be effective in other places. Geekie, though, I think is the surprise.
Yes.
He was a great Swiss Army knife last year, was productive, big jump over what he brought to Seattle the year before. And it was sort of like, after last year, everybody was like, all right, Geekie was the number one center in that Florida series. It's like, okay, nice thing, but you need to go out and actually get a number one center. They did. That guy hasn't worked out as much as they would have hoped.
Yeah.
And Geekie he's not playing center, but he's on the top line again. And I believe, let me check, he is tied with Elias Lindholm in points and has more goals. And I find that irony fascinating, but I do think it's huge. Again, Geekie, 13 goals, 24 points, and the majority of that has come over the last 2 months. I think he's turned himself into someone who, can probably best suited for the third line, but still is earning the respect to be a guy in the top 6.
Yeah. I wonder, though, about his value in trade. He's a big, strong guy. Would he be more valuable to some other, a team that was maybe really, really set to make a deep playoff run? Would he be more valuable to them, than he might be to the Bruins next year and the year after, however long, they signed him for? The way he's playing right now, it seems to me they might be able to get, something real for him, and because is he going to be around when the Bruins are good again? I don't know.
So this is the thing. And this is my thing, because I've thought about this a lot, and I agree with you. I think Geekie could get you something where, like, he's a bit, as you said, big guy, can produce, can fit anywhere in a lineup, can play down the middle, can play the wing. The kind of guy you want on your side in the playoffs.
His style and his build is perfect for the playoffs. Perfect.
Yeah, crushed Shabbat last night, even though Shabbat was like going down already, but he crushed him.
He did.
But so this is my thing, right? And this is where I hesitate with a trade. This is where I hesitate, because I agree with you. I want them to retool. I want them to get pieces back. But you do need bodies in the lineup. And after Pastrnak, you don't have much in terms of wing depth. You don't. Nope. Marchand's getting older. We'll see what happens with that. And then outside of that, they never replaced DeBrusk. They never signed any scoring winger in the offseason. You've got Coyle playing the wing at times now. That AFP Analytics came out with their projections, and they had Geekie at 4 years times $3.25 million. And I believe he's a pending RFA, not a UFA. And I agree. I would be very intrigued to see what he could get. And if someone offers you a haul for Morgan Geekie, I think you take it.
Yeah.
But I do think there's also an argument to, hey, he is working. He works with your best players. I don't know if you're going to be able to get a better upgraded wing in here in the offseason, and you don't have much else in terms of high-scoring wings. I wonder if they just hold on to him and sign him and trade other guys instead.
Yeah, well, that's certainly a legitimate, point of view. That if you trade him, I don't know. You want to make the playoffs clearly, and if you subtract him and say you get picks in return, well, that doesn't help you in trying to make the playoffs. That's for sure. So, that's something they'd have to weigh before they went ahead and did that.
That's the tough part, because if you trade Trent Frederick, right, and you get draft picks for him, as I said earlier, you can replace him in-house. You can have Merkulov come in. You can have other guys slot in there, and you can be okay. If you trade Andrew Peeke, I still think it's the same thing, where you have guys like Michael Callahan who can fill in. Is it ideal? No, but you can still tread water. In the East isn't that great anyway, so everyone's kind of in the same area, where, like, I could picture the Bruins doing a retool and still being in the playoff picture and it coming down to the last couple days and all that stuff. But you trade Geekie, and you're trading a guy that's working great on your top line. And that's where I think you have a tougher time, because who fills in there? Do you move Marchand up and just have kind of a super line? If Marchand's still here. That's a whole nother discussion. But I think if you trade Geekie, because I think, again, like we talk about the Tanner Jeannot trade from a couple years ago or a year or two ago when we talk about Frederick. I think you can talk about that with Geekie, where it's like, I think you could get a similar return. The guy's producing great. Yeah. He's got the style. Like, to me, like if I'm an opposing GM, or if I'm a GM that's in the hunt and I need a depth scoring forward, wouldn't you want Geekie over Frederick?
I don't know.
Just based off production.
Production-wise.
I know Frederick brings it in a different way, physicality and stuff. I get that.
Well, yeah, sometimes he does. I don't know. Yeah, Freddie hasn't been he's not a goal producer. He's not a point producer. That's not who he is. But he does bring other things. So yeah, you probably could get by better without, in the short term, for the rest of the season, without Freddie than without Geekie.
Yeah. But again, like, as I said, if someone offers you a lot from Morgan Geekie, if it's a 3rd round pick, don't do it. But if it's, something legitimate and you get, a couple picks or a first rounder or something, yeah, I would 100% do that. And I know there are people who are going to say, Morgan Geekie, how could he be worth a first round pick? I say this every episode. People forget how insane these deals get around the trade deadline and how desperate teams are.
Right.
So,
right.
I think that's where I'm at with that. But because I see people are turning for Geekie online, where it's like, oh, he's producing a lot and he's finishing plays, and and I think it's good. And Zakas works well with those guys. Yeah. And I know a lot of people have sort of punted on the season, but you do have to have guys who produce even after the trade deadline. So
yeah. Yep.
Fun stuff. I want to get to trades. This is a big one that the Bruins are in on, allegedly. But first, our friends over at Gametime. Gametime has a new feature called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. It filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best possible value. Again, you want to go to a game? Gametime Picks just shows you the best value tickets. They show you the all-in pricing. You can toggle that so you're not crushed by fees at checkout. You're getting it from the start. You know what you're paying. You can get seat views. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy, which is awesome. And this time of year, Mark, I say this every episode, but I believe it. Dog days. You want to make these times fun. It's January. It's February. Go to the game. Go. Have fun. Have a drink. Get some food. Enjoy it. And again, Gametime Picks makes it easy. Flash deals right before a game, if it's kind of a last-minute decision, make it even better. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets. Lowest price. Guaranteed. What time is it?
It's game time.
It is, in fact, game time. I believe it is game time. Is it game time for JT Miller to the Bruins? That's the real question. Frank Saravalli came out on Thursday and said the Bruins are a dark horse to try and go get JT Miller, which, again, talk about a team that should have a freaking reality show. They were the hottest thing going last spring, and within a year, they are falling apart.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of... I got nothing against Rick Tocchet. I loved him when he played for the Bruins, but the way it's fallen apart so fast, you just wonder, like, how did this happen? Like, how they talk the talk, in the offseason, the end of last season, and then in the summer, they talk the talk, but man, they're not walking the walk at all this season. They're a disaster. And then, I mean, by the time I got around to turning on their game last night against the Oilers, they were already down by 4. It's like, what the hell?
Also, Rick Tocchet won the Jack Adams 7 months ago.
He's
and
a
that's
good
what
coach. He's a good coach.
Again, I saw Ron Ralston, who's we both know well, great guy. I was with him at Belmont Hill on Wednesday night, and he was in the NHL for a bit. He was with Buffalo for a little bit, and he's jumped around with the national program and different college programs, and he's got a really nice job at Providence as the associate head coach. And a lot of people might say, well, why doesn't he go for an NHL job? Why doesn't he go, or why doesn't Nate Lehman go for an NHL? Why doesn't Jay Pandolfo go for an NHL job? You know why? Because they have very, very, very good jobs that are stable, where the players are not making millions of dollars, and you don't have egos, or at least big enough NHL egos. And that's why, again, like we say, you and I talk about this more than anything at Rinks, why college coaches are smart to stay in college at that level.
Well, guys like Nate and all the college coaches, for the most part, they're running the show at their program.
Yep.
In the NHL and higher levels, a lot of times it's the players who are running the show. So the coach is kind of at the mercy of, this guy's he's in a bad mood today. I'm not going to get anything out of him. They're just at the mercy of these ridiculously overpaid players. So, I mean,
it happens.
I get it. Why the security of a college job is attractive, as opposed to, taking a pro job and, maybe you get fired after 2 years or, whatever.
Yeah. But so again, there's a lot of drama surrounding JT Miller. A couple things on the back. 31 years old, cap hit of $8 million. There are other teams who are in on him more, but if the Bruins are a dark horse, would you trade for JT Miller?
Well, I would if the price was reasonable. What would you give up for him? I don't know. Would I give up Matt Patra for him? Yeah, I would. In the right circumstance, I would. I try not to be one of these people who falls in love with guys, and that's not a knock on Patra. I think he's doing well. His time in Providence was well spent, and I think he's going to be a good player. But I'm not ready to waive the waiting period for the Hall of Fame just yet.
Yes, and if you can get an established number one center, that it makes sense.
Then I think I would do that. But so I say yes to JT Miller with the caveat of what are you giving up? What are you giving up? I would really rather not give up a first round pick. They've done enough of that, and that's why they're where they're at.
Yes.
So hang on to the pick, put together a package of players, or maybe a pick down the road, But I say yes to JT Miller, and again with I guess the asterisk. Why does everyone hate this guy everywhere he goes?
He's like Tony D'Angelo. Not really, but you know what I mean.
Well, he wears out his welcome, not once,
does.
not twice, like 3 times. I think we're going on 4 now.
We're getting close. We're
terrific
getting close.
player, But even him, like the body language, like when I don't know, was it last week? Tocchet gave it to him on the bench, and like I don't know, it kind of looked like he quit for the rest of the game, and that's not what you want to see.
Well, I did see there was a clip floating around Twitter of it was like, watch JT Miller this whole shift. And he did nothing. It was like that old Pierre-Luc Dubois clip where it was like, watch him on the solo cam of him just like gliding around the ice like me on like a Wednesday night. And my thing with JT Miller, and this is my right, like obviously he'd be an upgrade. I have no doubt he'd be an upgrade. And I agree with you. It does come down to price. But, what if the Bruins are not right back in the mix of things next year? So he's 31.
Yeah.
So he's not old, but he's older. He's past 30.
Yeah.
Probably, I mean, again, I'm not an expert on JT Miller's game, but probably has 3 to 4 years left of prime hockey. Are they going to be cup contenders in 3 to 4 years and still be able to do that if they get him and sacrifice Patra and other futures? Like, that's where I get worried. I'm with you. I don't want to trade the first round pick. Even Patra, and I'm not falling in love with Patra, but it's the age with JT Miller and the direction of this team. Are the Bruins
the term?
Cup
What's
contenders?
the term? He has a lot of term left, right?
Let's look. He's signed 7-year deal at $8 million per, and he's got 4 more years after. No, 5 more years after this one.
Yeah. See, now that makes me wary.
That's scary.
What's he going to look like at age 35 and 36? So that's obviously something they'll take into consideration.
And that's the thing is I don't want to resist upgrading the team, but I also think they're headed in a certain direction with retooling and things like that, where, like, if they were to go get Pettersson, that would be different. It's a 26-year-old high-end center who's going to, would grow with the core. JT Miller's older than your core. That's where I worry. Like, if the Bruins were in the mix and were a cup contending team and they were first or second in the Atlantic or something, then I'd be like, yeah, like, you go for it. I don't know, though. I don't know.
Well, a couple other things there. Is JT Miller at age 31, is he a number one center on a legitimate cup contending team? I don't know. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no on that.
You're probably right. You're probably right. The locker room could use him. They could use a guy to come in and probably,
kick some ass. Yeah.
I was going to say, like,
and regarding Pettersson, I mean, it seems like, and having done no research on this, just completely flying by the seat of my pants.
Oh, brother, I'm right there with you.
I'm going to say that ever since they gave him that massive contract, he hasn't been as good. So that happens sometimes. So that deal has a lot of term left and a lot of money, and I mean, the guy's got to be a sure thing, I think, before you commit to that, and it's hard to find a sure thing.
So they signed him in March of 2024. Let's look, because I know he had one big year, 22-23 at 102 points, and then he had 89 last year, and he's downgraded this year, 11 goals, 30 points in 41 games. I mean, obviously still a high-end guy, all that stuff, but I agree with you. Like, you do have to worry about handing him that big contract and him not performing. I have one, like message board, Facebook, like, comment section style trade idea for JT Miller that I would entertain. I don't think it's going to work. It probably wouldn't work, but I have an idea.
Okay.
Ready for it?
Yep.
Where were Elias Lindholm and Nikita Zadorov last year?
Oh, I like it. I like where you're going here.
Vancouver. They were in Vancouver.
Like
Lindholm was in talks with them about re-signing. Zadorov was there. I think he liked it. They kind of want a big left shot defenseman back. Lindholm would be able to slide in as a number 2 or 3 center in Vancouver. He'd be a defensive center, a two-way guy after Pettersson. So you kind of have the two-headed monster there. The reason Lindholm didn't fit so well there in the spring was because he was a third-line center, which ironically enough, he is here now too, again. If you could somehow make that work, I don't know how, money-wise, you'd have to get guys to waive no movements and all that. I'd be for it. That's where I'm for it.
I'm with you. And would you have to retain some money on Lindholm?
Probably.
You might have to.
Probably. You probably would.
Because I mean, look at the first shift of last night's game, or the first 2 shifts for Lindholm. Like, he had an open net on the first shift and he shanked it. Yep. Then he had another great chance like minutes later, and he didn't put it in. It's just like, this guy. It's been a disaster so far.
I know. It's tough because and we say this all the time with free agents. You have, it takes time to acclimate to a new place. I'm with you, and he's come into a weird situation in that there was a coaching change 2 months in. The coach immediately removed him with Pastrnak, and you have the goalie thing going on in training camp, and I get that, but to me, what has screwed this team more than anything this year, you can look at defensive metrics. You can look at goaltending metrics. What really has screwed them is he did not work as their number one center, as their tried and true bona fide number one center, because we all were in the same boat. We thought he'd come in and produce more than they got out of the center spot last year. He's on pace to not do that. He's, I think, 24 points so far, which is mind-bogglingly low.
He's a guy that was a number one center and is no longer a number one center. And he's a number three center right now. I mean, it's hard. I find it hard to believe that they could be so wrong, but that's the way it looks right now.
And that's the thing. And I wonder if that turns around. I wonder if a fresh season next year gets him going. And I'm not ready to write him or Zadorov off yet. Like, I think that's unfair to them. They're on, that's their first year, and there are lots of free agents who have bad year ones who go on to have very fine careers. It's just very concerning with Lindholm, where it's like, we all said, oh, well, he might not be a number one center 4 years into the deal, but the first 3, you're good. And that hasn't been it at all. And I think the other thing is, like, you haven't gotten him to be a number one center. The two-way game's been okay, but that's not enough to suffice for the money he's making. And we all thought, oh, he'll just jump in on the bumper on the power play, and you're humming like it's the Bergeron days. And that also hasn't worked at all. So that's if you like, I wonder, because again, Vancouver's going to want to compete. Vancouver is in the race. I think they're in the playoffs, aren't they? They must be. They have to be. They were in it last year. So they're right outside the wild card spot. But again, young core, they're going to want to compete in the future. Do they look at Zadorov and Lindholm and say, well, that's 2 guys. Could that work? Again, they're underperforming, so I don't know how they would accept that trade. But this is like NHL 24. Maybe you could make it work.
Well, if you could unload those 2, and get a return that makes sense, then I think you got to do it. So.
Yeah. Well, how about us? Trade, just trade mock trades and everything. This is great. People must love this. What can the people look forward to from you coming up? What do you got? Anything big going on? I know you got a big John Muse story coming in our magazine.
Yeah, big John Muse, months in the making.
I know. We had to rewrite that because he retired halfway through the story.
I know. Hey, that was fun. I enjoyed going up there to talk to him, and he's such a universally liked and respected guy. Like, all his BC boys can't say enough good things. Like, you mention his name and everybody just breaks into a big grin. Like, Musey, what a great guy. So that was fun.
And that was a great story. You did a great job on that.
Thank you. And I hope there's things about that story that I didn't. I mean, he played. I vaguely remember him playing at Nobles, and it was like, I didn't realize that he went straight from Nobles to BC as an 18-year-old, played every minute of every game for BC, and won the national championship. Like,
crazy.
Who does that? Who does that?
For those who don't know, that doesn't happen today. Nobody, no impactful college hockey player comes right out of high school hockey or prep school hockey and makes an impact. That does not happen. You're seeing that with Dean Letourneau right now. No.
Well,
that's another topic.
So I was around the BC guys last week, and talking not to the coaches but other people around the program. And this isn't going to make anybody, I don't think, feel any better about it. But I was told that he's a great teammate. He's a good kid. He's putting in the work. And that his skill is more evident in practice than it is in the games, which, it's not evident at all in the games at this point because he doesn't play a lot. But, he's taken a beating, and mostly the Bruins are taking a beating. I don't think anybody's hammering the kid for it.
Yeah, don't go with the kid. Come on, guys.
Even the Bruins, I mean, you and I and everyone else that watched him extensively last year knew this guy is not ready for Division I college hockey. He needs to go play juniors.
Well, that was the thing. And I think so there's two things with Letourneau. Number one is what you just said. It should have been in the USHL or should be like now in the OHL. But again, I don't see him leaving BC because he's there.
This guy that I talked to said and made a great point. The OHL, they play 70 games. They don't practice. They don't do weight room. They'll tell you that they do, but really, it's a pro-style schedule. In college, this is just what he needs right now. 4 days a week in the weight room, practice, couple of games on the weekend, and, he can put in the time developing his body, developing all the other things that he needs to work on.
Because he's really thin. He's not a thick kid either.
No, he's not. He's not. He gets guys that weigh 175 pounds knock him off the puck.
We saw that at Dev Camp. Well,
yes.
And the other thing with him is it's gonna take time. I saw someone tweet out a couple weeks ago, right after the World Juniors, comparing Stiga to Letourneau. Now, I love Teddy Stiga. I love Teddy Stiga. You do too. Great kid. I covered him coming up. I think he's phenomenal. They are different players. They project differently. The Bruins were not looking for a wing who could be a middle six regular someday. And that's probably what Teddy Stiga will be, which is great. I'm not knocking that. But there's a chance Letourneau, maybe not a huge one, but a chance that he could be a number one center someday. And they took that swing. I'm okay with them taking that swing. It's going to take time. We're not going to know this year whether or not he's going to be NHL, going to be able to play in the NHL someday. 3 years from now, we should know, but it won't be now. And I think that's what people are not. And I get it. People want to see immediate returns, but you were never going to see immediate returns with this kid ever.
Well, and the where he was taken, the position he was taken in the draft, we don't know yet who the guys that were available at that point, who's going to make it and who isn't going to make it. We don't know. It's too soon.
You think in 5 years we're going to be like, man, they should have taken so-and-so. He went 4 picks after Letourneau. I could see it.
We probably will because that happens every year.
You're right. You're right.
There's not. I don't follow it as closely, anywhere nearly as closely as as some people do. But I can't point to anyone and say that's the guy they should have taken. I don't know.
I don't either.
The guy that his name escapes me now. The guy that they were going to take, I think, until who took him a couple spots before.
Oh, he was a center. Yes.
He was in the World Juniors, and having watched that, I look at that and I say, I don't know, really? That guy?
Who was it?
He's a prospect, yeah, but is he a slam dunk? No, he's not.
It wasn't Boyve. Oh, Michael Hagg. Wasn't it Michael Hagg?
No, it wasn't Michael Hagg. No. It was a
Cole Bodwin.
Bodwin, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's who it was.
A big, heavy,
Utah 24.
Big, heavy Bruin type player. But, I don't know.
You need some upside. And we both watched it. There were shifts that we wouldn't notice Letourneau, but there were also some shifts where it was like, damn, that kid can play.
Yeah. A guy that size with those kinds of hands. Yeah. So it's people don't want to wait. We don't want to wait, but we're going to have to.
We're going to have to. Mark, as always, a pleasure. I'm sure I'll see you at a rink very, very soon.
Thanks,
and that's Bruins Beat. I'm Evan Marinofsky. Bruins Beat listeners, have a great rest of your week.